If you're a green card holder planning to travel soon, you need to hear this. Starting January 20th, new travel restrictions could affect your ability to leave and re-enter the United States. Some green card holders might face delays, secondary inspections, or even complications at the border. This isn't a rumor, this is real, and you need to be prepared. Stay with me. Welcome back to Immigration Fresh Updates, where we keep you informed about everything happening in U.S. immigration. Today we're talking about something urgent: new travel restrictions that could impact green card holders starting January 20th. Whether you're planning a short trip to visit family, a business meeting overseas, or even a vacation, these changes could affect you. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what's happening, why it's happening, who will be most affected, and most importantly, what you can do to protect yourself. This is information every green card holder needs to know right now. So let's not waste any time. Let's dive in. So what exactly is changing on January 20th? According to reports from immigration attorneys, advocacy groups, and policy analysts, new administrative measures are being introduced that will increase scrutiny on green card holders traveling internationally. This comes as part of a broader effort to tighten border security and immigration enforcement. While green card holders have always had the right to travel and return to the U.S., the new measures mean that re-entry could become more complicated. Here's what we know so far. Green card holders from certain countries may face additional questioning at ports of entry. There may be longer wait times, secondary inspections, and requests for additional documentation, proving ties to the United States. Some travelers have already reported being asked detailed questions about their employment, where they live, how long they've been outside the U.S., and even their family relationships. Immigration officials will be looking closely at how long you've been outside the country, whether you've maintained your residence in the U.S., and if you've filed your taxes, if you've been outside the U.S. for more than 6 months, or if you've taken multiple long trips, you could be flagged for further review. This doesn't mean you'll lose your green card, but it does mean you need to be prepared. The last thing you want is to be stuck at the airport, separated from your family, or delayed for hours without knowing what's going on. Not every green card holder will be affected equally. So who should be most concerned? First, if you're from a country that's been under any kind of travel restriction or heightened scrutiny in the past, countries in the Middle East, North Africa, parts of Asia, or certain African nations, you need to pay extra attention. Even though you're a legal permanent resident, your country of origin may still trigger additional questioning. Second, if you travel frequently for work or family reasons, especially if you spend long periods of time outside the U.S., you could be flagged. Immigration officers are trained to look for signs that someone may have abandoned their permanent residency. If you're a green card holder who spends more time abroad than in the U.S., this is a red flag. Third, if you have any kind of criminal record, even something minor like a DUI or a misdemeanor, you could face additional scrutiny. Immigration officials have access to criminal databases, and they will use this information to decide whether to let you back in smoothly or send you to secondary inspection. And finally, if you're traveling with expired or soon-to-expire documents, like an expired re-entry permit or a green card that's about to expire, you're setting yourself up for problems. Even if your status is still valid, outdated documents create doubt, and doubt leads to delays. The bottom line is this: if you're a green card holder who travels internationally, especially starting January 20th, you need to be more prepared than ever before. Don't assume that just because you have a green card, everything will go smoothly. You might be wondering, why now? Why January 20th? The answer is political. January 20th is Inauguration Day in the United States, and historically, new administrations or returning leaders often introduce changes to immigration policy right away. This is a way to signal that border security and immigration enforcement are top priorities. We've seen this before. In previous years, executive orders and policy shifts have targeted visa holders, asylum seekers, refugees, and yes, even green card holders. The goal is to show strength on immigration, to reassure certain voter bases, and to send a message that the U.S. is tightening its borders. Whether you agree with these policies or not, the reality is that they affect real people, people like you, people like your families, people who have built lives here legally. It's also important to understand that these measures are often reactive. There may have been concerns raised about national security fraud or abuse of the immigration system. When those concerns are raised, the response is often to increase scrutiny across the board, even if the vast majority of green card holders are following the rules. Unfortunately, this means that innocent law-abiding permanent residents can get caught up in the process. It's frustrating, it's stressful, but it's the reality we're dealing with right now. If you're planning to travel after January 20th, preparation is everything. The most important thing you can do is make sure you have all the right documents with you, not just your green card, but additional proof that you are maintaining your life in the United States. Here's a checklist of what you should carry. Your valid green card. Make sure it's not expired or about to expire. If your card is expiring soon, consider renewing it before you travel. A re-entry permit if you've been outside the U.S. for an extended period or plan to be. This document shows that you intend to return and maintain your permanent residency, proof of U.S. tied. This includes things like a lease agreement, mortgage documents, utility bills, bank statements, pay stubs, or an employment letter. Anything that shows you live work and pay taxes in the U.S. Your tax returns. Bring copies of your last 2 years of U.S. tax filings. This proves you've been meeting your obligations as a resident, travel itinerary and return ticket. Be ready to show that your trip is temporary and that you're planning to return. Family documents if applicable. Marriage certificates, birth certificates of U.S. citizen children, anything that shows your family is in the U.S. These documents might seem like overkill, but trust me, if you're pulled aside for secondary inspection, having them ready can make the difference between a 20-minute delay and a 4-hour ordeal. Be proactive, be prepared. Let's talk about what happens if you do get stopped or sent to secondary inspection. First, stay calm. This does not automatically mean you're losing your green card. Secondary inspection is a routine process where officers ask additional questions and review your documents more carefully. You'll be asked things like, how long were you outside the U.S.? What were you doing abroad? Where do you live in the U.S.? Do you have a job here? Are you paying taxes? Do you have family here? These questions are designed to determine whether you've abandoned your permanent residency. Be honest, be respectful, and be clear. Don't exaggerate, don't lie, and don't get defensive. If you've been outside the U.S. for several months, explain why. Maybe you were caring for a sick parent, maybe you were working on a temporary assignment. Whatever the reason, be prepared to explain it and back it up with documents. In most cases, after the interview and document review, you'll be allowed to enter the U.S. without any issues. However, in rare cases, if the officer believes you've abandoned your residency, they may issue you a notice to appear in immigration court, or they may ask you to sign a form giving up your green card. Do not sign anything without speaking to an immigration lawyer first. If you're ever in doubt, ask to speak to a supervisor or request time to contact an attorney. You have rights, even in secondary inspection. Don't be intimidated, be informed. Now let's talk prevention. How can you avoid these problems in the first place? Here are my top tips. Don't stay outside the U.S. for more than 6 months at a time. If you do, you risk being questioned about whether you've abandoned your residency. If you need to be abroad for longer, apply for a re-entry permit before you leave. Keep strong ties to the U.S. Maintain a home, a job, a bank account, and file your taxes every year. These are the clearest signs that the U.S. is your permanent home. Travel with all your documents. As I mentioned earlier, carry proof of your U.S. ties, tax returns, and travel plans. Avoid last-minute travel right after January 20th if possible. Give it a few weeks for the new policies to settle in and for any confusion at the border to be worked out. Stay informed. Follow trusted immigration news sources. Join online communities of green card holders. And if you're working with an immigration attorney, stay in touch with them. And finally, don't panic. Yes, these changes are concerning, but thousands of green card holders will continue to travel safely every single day. The key is preparation, documentation, and understanding your rights. You've worked hard for your green card. Don't let fear stop you from living your life, but don't be careless either. I want to share a couple of real stories from green card holders who've experienced issues at the border. Names have been changed for privacy. Maria from Mexico traveled to visit her mother for 4 months. When she returned to the U.S., She was sent to secondary inspection. The officer asked her why she was gone so long, whether she still lived in the US, and whether she had a job. Thankfully, Maria had her lease, pay stubs, and tax returns with her. After 90 minutes, she was allowed to enter. Ahmed from Egypt traveled for 2 weeks to attend a wedding. Even though his trip was short, he was questioned extensively about his work, his family, and his travel history. He didn't have any documents with him except his green card. The process took over 3 hours, and he almost missed his connecting flight. He learned the hard way that preparation matters. These stories aren't meant to scare you. They're meant to prepare you. Immigration enforcement is real, and even legal residents can face delays and questions. But with the right documents and the right attitude, you can navigate these situations successfully. Don't be like Ahmed. Be like Maria. Now I want to hear from you. Are you a green card holder? Have you traveled recently? Drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. Let's support each other. Listen, I know this news can feel overwhelming, but you are not alone. Thousands of green card holders are in the same boat, and together, we'll get through this. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay strong. If this video helped you, please hit that like button, share it with anyone who needs to see it, and subscribe to Immigration Fresh Updates so you never miss an important update. Your green card is valuable. Protect it. Safe travels, and I'll see you in the next video.